all men are created equal.
It is possible to make the argument that Thomas Jefferson is the first person to truly articulate a theory of race in the United States. And in effect, he has to do so. He has said in the Declaration of Independence that we are all created equal. Well, if in fact we're all created equal, and if in fact we're entitled to our liberty, then how can he possibly own 175 slaves and going up to about 225 slaves at the peak of his slaveholding?
I think about going on to Yahweh, Shem, Yahushua, Shem, Kakadash. The bonus to teach us about the great son of God's brothers, but not the truth. Faithful jealousy, feeding the sheep and deep brothers and sisters, tuning in Shalom. Today's lesson style: all men are not created equal. Now, you saw in that opening clip there where Thomas Jefferson, he was talking about, all men created equal, blah, 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 blah. We've heard that so many doggone times, but I'm here to tell you, Hebrew Israelites out there, you so-called Blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, and Hispanics, okay? All men are not created equal, okay? And the people, okay, these Edomites, these so-called white people, okay, that try to pump that in your head, what it is a tactical approach to bring you down, okay, to the point of where you look at them superior, okay? It's a preemptive strategy to keep Jake in the dark, okay? So what you have is Jake have this inferiority complex, okay? This is the reason why you had the civil rights movement, okay? The equal right movements. When you take a look at all these posters that so-called Blacks are holding up, during those marches, what does it say? Equality, equality. So basically, it's a system that has been set up to have our people believe that they have to be equal or to spend their whole entire life trying to achieve equality to these people who are in fact the most inferior created people on this earth. Now, take a look at this 18 nation, image that I had AI set up. And you see number 1 is Yasharala, okay, Prince of the Power. And you see number 18 is who? Edom, okay, or Esau, the so-called white man. And for many, okay, this drives them nuts because how the hell can you people who are at the bottom call these people who are at the top, who runs this earth, the lowest abased man that has ever been created by the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai. And we're going to go into the scriptures and prove that Esau is the lowest creation. He's the basis of man, okay, these so-called white people. And then we, okay, the people that people look at as inferior, and because there's evidence and proof through those civil rights movements and those marches with us carrying banners saying, give us equal rights, we want to be equal like you, blah, 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 that we are in fact, okay, the chosen people of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, and also we are the most superior people that has ever been created. In fact, let's go into Isaiah 1 and 3, because our own people, okay, don't want to believe this. It reads, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel do not know, my people do not consider. See, our people don't want to consider that we are, in fact, okay, the chosen people of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, even though these same people will go to church every weekend, okay, and you have a pulpit, bald head, bald face, pastor walk around, but don't teach you who you really are. He don't teach you about your enemy. Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man, the basis of man. Okay? Because why? It has been reinforced through decades of brainwashing, okay, that you are beneath this doggone caveman. Okay, so you need to go and constantly match. Okay, you have to adapt your ways, your way of thinking to think like him. Okay, even dress like him and try to speak like him because he is superior than you. Okay, and this is in the minds of our 2/3 who refuse to understand that they are the chosen people of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, who the word ignorantly called God and Jesus. Okay, so it's a reinforced inferiority complex. Hence, okay, what we say would be deemed racist, black, so-called black supremacists. And what did I say in the beginning? I said so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, and Hispanic. And we also do have those speckled bird too. So in case some of you who look like Asians and even some of you who look like Caucasians, and you have the spirit of Yasharallah, then you are in fact a Hebrew Israelite, and that makes you superior than the so-called white man or these Caucasians. Okay, let's go into the book of Daniel. Let's read exactly how Esau got his power, because you can say he invented all of these things. He has the money, he has all this firepower, all these things that he can do, you know, and who sits at the head of the table at the United Nations? It's the so-called white man. All right. And you can see what's going on right now in the world. Okay, this so-called white man, okay, number 18 that you saw on the picture there that I created, okay, is the one that you see, the reason why you can't afford food, okay, why you're sick, why gas prices and food prices are so high, commodity goods, okay, there's a shortage of everything, okay, there's a shortage of life, really, on this earth, if this man was to continue on in his rulership. It reads, this is Daniel 4:17, it reads, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High, who y'all call God, rule it in the kingdom of man and give it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of man. So Esau got a setup. This man did not achieve anything. He didn't invent anything. He was given this. He was actually given this. And when you don't have any adversity in your life to where you have to overcome any obstacles and all those things like that, then you are going to thrive. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shai gave Esau the easy way, okay, to his kingdom. He was given to it. All right. So when you take a look at the power that this man have here, let's take a look at, he has bases all over the world. Okay. He his face is on the global currency, the US petrodollar. Okay. And basically you have nations that didn't dare challenge this man in anything. Okay. They did not want to have a dispute with him, because why? The way he resolved dispute is through violence. Okay, he's incredibly violent. Okay, so take a look at it, because some of you will look at these 18 nations, you'll say to yourself, no way in hell, you niggers and you spics and wetbacks or tontos are the number one people. Yes, we are. We are the number one created people on this earth. We are the Lord Yahweh Shemashai's favorite people. And number 18, Esau the Edomite, a so-called white man, you Caucasians. Okay, you Beckys and you Bobs and you Billies, you are the most inferior beings ever created. Okay, and I'm going to go into scriptures to show you just how low you really are, because I don't think you Edomites comprehend just how insignificant you are and how low you really are. Okay, let's go into Genesis 29 and starting with verse 38. Okay, and it reads, and Esau, okay, remember he came out hairy, okay, and we got a proof of it. Take a look at these pictures here. You see how hairy, see how red these people are? Huh? They can't go in the sun. No melanin, okay? And that's part of that inferiority gene pool that y'all have. Your women can't get pregnant because your men are infertile, okay, and they just lack the ability to make you women actually pregnant. But if a Jake touch one of your women, they are instantly pregnant, okay? Henceforth, this is the reason why you have such that grandeur lust from the doggone so-called white woman towards the so-called black man, okay? Now, I say the so-called black man, okay, we do have the Latino and Hispanic man, and the Native American man, they're also superior also too. We are all part of the children of Israel, the 12 tribe of Israel, okay? It reads, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me, also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. This is why. This is what the white man, so-called white man, does. He cries when he doesn't get his way. But when he jacks up, he doesn't take responsibility for it. Okay, and we're going to read about exactly the reason why he's weeping and crying, begging for a blessing, okay, from Isaac, who in fact is Yahweh Shai, okay, who the word when he called Jesus. It says, and Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling should be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke off thy neck. You see?
After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, We have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East.
So Esau is going to have the fatness of the earth. Hence the reason why you have 800 plus bases all across this earth covering the globe. Okay, here it is proof. Okay, he's in the 7 seas. Okay, and basically he has all nations surrounded. He takes what he wants, you know, by force. This is how he does things. There's no diplomatic, any type of diplomatic process with the so-called white man. Nobody, no, you know, he takes what he wants by the sword. So this is the reason why they have their wealth. They didn't come over here, okay, and cultivated the land. We were brought over here, okay, so-called Negroes, and cultivated the land, okay, and made them extremely wealthy. And as a result of that, rather than showing gratitude, okay, they hung us from trees, beat us, lynched us, raped us, okay, sodomized us, all those things, all right? So this is what the action is of a decrepit, disgusting, lowly created, okay, being, okay, that has no type of empathy, okay, for his fellow brother, who is the Jacob, which is the 12th tribe of Israel, okay? We can go into Hebrews 12, okay, and starting with verse 16. This is coming from the Lord Yahweh Shai himself. So when you look at the so-called white man in this picture of Jesus and the old grandpa-looking doggone image what they call God, okay, if that's what they want to believe in, then they have to understand those beings is saying this about you, okay? But we know, okay, that the Most High and the Son, the Messiah, is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. It reads, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man, or you white people, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Now keep in mind, I was in Genesis 27, okay, and verse 38, okay, where Esau wept, okay, to his father for what? The blessing. He had thrown it away, discarded it. It meant nothing to him. Okay, it's the eldest son, he was supposed to have the blessing. Okay, and he would have been the one that was going to, you know, inherit the kingdom of heaven. But instead, okay, he found himself, okay, discarded, and what? Basically, the Lord, Yahweh Shai, hates him. It says, for ye know that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears, crying as usual, okay? And what do we see? It doesn't that describe what the so-called white people do today, okay? They would antagonize you. They would start the fight. But when you whoop that ass, they then suddenly become the victim. And this is how this man has always played it all across this earth, okay? He starts the trouble, and then he plays the victim when he's losing, okay? Let's go into Romans 9 and starting with verse 11, okay? Because you hear this man, listen to this boasting right here.
In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
And you saw the boasting of this man, Trump, okay? Boasting about, let's go into Romans 9, start at verse 11, and it reads, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of power, who's called God, according to election, might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So they hadn't done anything, okay? But this just goes to show that we, as the Hebrew Israelite, we were predestined, you know, to achieve greatness and to have the kingdom of heaven, okay? Because why? We are the number one created beings on this earth, okay? And you're going to see with Esau, he is the least, okay, of all the nations, okay? Number 18. It was said unto her that elder should serve the younger. Esau is the elder, and he's going to serve us. So how can he be superior? Why would you want to be equal to someone that's going to serve us? What we are looking at is a temporary situation in which the so-called white man has been given an opportunity to exalt himself. And he's doing a very horrible job of it. I mean, come on, look at the buffoonery that you're seeing from that king right now. Look at him. Okay? It says, as it is written, Jacob, 12 tribe of Israel, you beautiful so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, and Hispanics. Okay, all of you are beautiful. Okay, even though you know we got 2/3 that are doing bullshit, but you are still beautiful. Okay? And notice, it said, as it is written, Jacob, 12 tribe of Israel, you beautiful people, have I loved, and Esau, you demonic, okay, can't stand in the sun, evil, okay, sodomites, okay, bestiality practicing, okay, piece of crap, have I hated, okay? But Esau have I hated. The Lord hates you, okay? So definitely, Yahweh Bashim Shai, who the word when we call God and Jesus, they're not going to create, okay, a being that is despised and hated by them and make him number one. No. I already going into the book of Daniel that said that he put the basis of man. Okay, you see, the Lord Yahweh Shemashah has a humor, okay, and he likes to prove how great he is. He can prove that how great he is by taking the most vile created being and make him rule the earth. Okay, the caveman. In fact, you don't believe that this man was a caveman. Let's go into Job 30, starting with verse 5, it reads, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. Sounds familiar to you? Who stole this land? Who stole the land down in South America? In fact, who steals everything? This so-called white man, Esau the Edomites, okay? To dwell in the cliffs of the valley, in the caves of the earth. See, caveman, so easy a caveman can do it. And in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed under the nestle, they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yeah, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. That's them. Driven out of society, stinky, don't bathe, you know, foul beings, stealing, didn't even have a language. Okay? And you see more and more videos are coming up where even Edomite looking people are coming and talking about the fact that we taught them how to bathe. Okay? We taught them how to bathe. We taught them hygiene and everything. Again, nothing that you see out in society was created by the so-called white man. Not the cars, not the airplane, nothing, okay, was created by him. He was given all of those from the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shah. And guess what? In case you don't, 2/3 are there, still hardening your minds and yourself, okay, because you have been compromised and you have a reinforced inferiority complex in your head. What they call God and Jesus, who is Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, are in fact dark-skinned men. Yes, it's true. Dark-skinned men. And the scriptures talks about it. So here it is, the most superior man on this earth, or in his mind, okay, is given the authority to rule the earth and the power and everything by a being that looks like the people that he is oppressing. Think about that for a second, okay? While you think about that for a second, let's go down that scripture here. This is the book of Deuteronomy 7:6. Let's talk about us for a second here. All right, because it's always a wonderful thing to know who you really are. Okay, imagine walking around your life with your head up your ass, thinking that you need to somehow impress this man. I need to convince the so-called white man that I am as good as him. I want to be equal to him. You know, I'll even drink, you know, after him when he take a sip of his beer and go, dude, do you want some of this, man? Yeah, sure, I'll drink some of that, man. I'll swallow your spit. Yeah, come on, Jake. You all know what I'm talking about. We all did it at some point in time, especially if you hung around white people or you were living in those states or towns or cities or went to college with them and you didn't know. You didn't know any better. So don't beat yourself up about it. We were in darkness, okay? But now we're awake. And that's why you're a man of the Lord on the highway and the byway to awaken you, okay? Let's go into Deuteronomy 7:6. It reads, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, thy power. The Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, thy power, hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, to him, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now, take a look at this picture again, this 18 tribe picture I created with AI. Okay, see, that's number one. Now, you might see the other numbers like that. That doesn't mean that those people are actually the next, you know, number two, the Ammonites or the so-called Japanese are not number two, or the Chinese or whatever the case is, that the Moabites are not number two. But the Lord Yahweh Shai says he's going to show mercy to all of these other ones from number 2 to number 17 is going to be shown mercy. They're going to be taught the right way, okay, although they're going to be in slavery. But number 18, Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man. Yeah, it's going to be really bad for you, okay? But see that? Right there, it says it right there. The same Bible that y'all read and swear on, okay, in the courtroom, you know, during your inauguration, it says it right in there. Okay, it says it right there. Y'all never thought that we would actually be given, okay, the wisdom to be able to figure that out, right? But see, we're in the last days. Your rulership is coming to an end. The prophets are awake. We don't care about your feelings. We don't care about your kids' feelings. We don't care about our people who rebel and who want to continuously be, feel like they're inferior to you. We don't care about their feelings either. Don't care, all right? Our job is to bring out the message. In fact, let's go into the book of Amos 3, starting verse 1. Here's another message to us from the Lord Yahweh Shemashai. Hear this word that the Lord Yahweh Shemashai has spoken against you, O children of Israel. So now we've been bad. Okay, punished. And that's why we're getting punished right now to this day. Okay? Okay, keep in mind, Deuteronomy 28. We're still going through those curses. Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Because we are the favorite. We were given the laws. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Now, you take a look at how Jacob's are being punished. Let me ask any of you doggone Edomites that are watching this, you so-called white people that are watching this, that are actually true white people. I'm not talking about the Caucasian-looking Jakes, okay? We're not talking about you specklebirds, okay? Let me ask you, do you ever worry when you go, do you ever worry when you walk outside? Nope. Do you ever worry when you go downtown? Nope. Do you ever worry when you go for a job, go bed for a job interview? Back in the day, I'm not talking about now, because right now there ain't no job for y'all, because, well, it's coming to the end, okay? Y'all better believe that and let that sink into your head quickly, all right? No, you never had to. Y'all didn't get judged. Just as recently as, 2 weeks ago, a couple of you doggone young crackers killed that Jacob was young because he's trusting you. And we keep telling our people over and over, this is 2026. If you haven't opened your mind to this, to the warnings that we're telling you, now's the time. Do not trust. I repeat, you so-called blacks, African Americans, Caribbean Americans, whatever, and down in the Caribbean, you so-called Latinos and Native Americans, if you can speak some type of Spanish, okay, this is only the ones that listen, and Native Americans, do not trust the people that call themselves white, who are in fact red. Do not trust them. Do not trust your enemies. They are your enemy. You best believe that they're your enemy, all right? And they are inferior to you. Take a look at it again. 18 tribes. Look at you. You are part of the number one. So-called Latinos, Native Americans, Latinos, so-called blacks, okay, headed by the tribe of Judah, okay, where Yahushua, who the world even called Jesus, he came from there. That's why the African Americans are so great at sports and everything else. And they invent a lot of things, all right? Because they're the number one, all right? And from you Latino tribes, okay, or the Northern Kingdom, Puerto Ricans got the swag. That's why Ephraim heads that division. You understand? Okay, let's go into our next scripture here. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, and starting 2nd Esdras 6, starting verse 7. Understand this. When I wake up, and a lot of brothers can attest to this, okay, we already know we got next. In fact, it's already written right here. So we're not impressed. We're not impressed with you Edomites, all right? It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the partner asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So this is Yahweh Shemashai. He's there, he already laid it out. Who's gonna run? Who's gonna rule things first? Okay, let's get the answer. It says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob, 12 tribe of Israel, and Esau, the Edomites, the so-called Caucasian white people, were born of him. Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. We're grabbing him, boy, we can get this, all right? For Esau is the end of the world. How could you be superior and you're the end of the world? You're trying to tell me you couldn't run the world better so that it doesn't come to an end? What a piece of crap you are. This is why their movies always have those things, those doomsday thing, and it's always about you know, them trying to save the day or whatever cases like that. This man is in doom and gloom. We are in the spirit of life. There's no end to the earth. There's never going to be an end to the earth. The earth has no end to it. All right? So those of you walking around going, oh, the world's going to come to an end soon. No. Esau's world, which is basically synonymous to rulership, is going to come to an end. It says for Esau, the Edomites, the so-called white people, those people that can't go in the sun for 20 minutes, you know, one with their false sense of superiority, when in fact they are inferior, the number 18s. It's the end of their world, and we're seeing it right now. And Jacob, the 12th tribe of Israel, with beautiful blacks, so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans. No matter what state you're in right now, as far as how you're living, you might be catching hell. We all catching hell, man. Okay? It's the beginning of it that follow it. A beautiful world, okay? Where we're going to be like angelic beings, immortal, don't die, okay? Perfect health, spiritual, never sinning. And guess what? We're going to have a whole earth full of slaves. So 1,000 years. 1,000 years of just servants. We can get to beat these Edomites ass, do with them as we see fit. That's going to be the real combat sports in the kingdom, boy, is what we could be doing to you, doggone, you so-called Edomite, you so-called white people, you Edomites, particularly you, man, of course. I'm not going to go into what we can do with the women, but definitely you, man, are going to get beat down. Okay, let's go into Ezekiel 35 and start at verse 5, because I know what you're saying. Boy, you are so racist. Man, you are so racist and hateful and all of that stuff. Well, did y'all show us love? And for those of you, Jakes, that accept being inferior, that's your business, all right? I'm just a messenger to let you know from the scriptures, okay, something that your pastor doesn't tell you at church because they're so busy collecting your doggone money, okay, and following your wife. You know, some of you men, you know, the pastors mess around with your woman, your kids probably, all right? That you, in fact, are the chosen people of the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Why is Esau hated so much? He had a perpetual hatred and had shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. See, he was given that sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Come on, wake up, Jake. This man all across the earth, right now, guess what? He's out there blaming the Iranians or the Persians for BS, and what he's doing, he's killing people. He doesn't necessarily have to put a bullet in your head to kill you. The fact is that you can't even afford a roof over your head. So once you're sleeping outside, guess what disease is going to get up to you? Now your life is out there with people that may have bad intentions for you. Yeah, it's the wealthiest country, millions on the streets. You call that a superior rulership? It says, therefore, as I live, said the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Said thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So he's never hated blood. You have no problem taking us. Okay, you have no problem killing us. And so guess what? The Lord Yahweh Shemashai is going to kill him. Why? Because he's not equal. All men are not created equal. Okay? And to prove that, let's close out with the book of Obadiah 1 and starting with verse 3. Here it is. It reads, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Didn't we read that before in Job? Why does the scripture keep emphasizing this man dwelling in the cleft of the rock? Because he's a Neanderthal. Okay? He's a Cro-Magnon. He's a Neanderthal, a caveman, hairy beast. Okay? Whose habitation is high, that said in the side, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, then shall I bring thee down, said the Lord Yahweh Shemashai. And we see him coming down right now. Look what these what they come up with. SpaceX, you know, they're talking about going to Mars. It's never going to happen. You've never been outside the Earth's atmosphere as far as where they have the Van Allen belt. You've never been out there. You've lied about every doggone thing. And this is what an inferior man does. You see, if you were superior, you would have no reason to lie because you wouldn't have to impress inferior people, right? How many of you try to impress a dog? Or how many of you try to impress a rodent? Okay, you wouldn't. Because you're superior. So basically you say, well, we're going to get there. But you have to lie because why? You understand that we are the superior people, the created people, the chosen people of the Lord Yahweh Shai. At some point in time, we're going to see through your lies. The Lord Yahweh Shai is going to expose you. And now your iniquities are all uncovered. So there it is, Jake. We come with over and over and over and let you know who you are. Chosen people of the Lord Yahweh Shai, and yet still you resist truth and knowledge. But I'll close it by saying, all men are not created equal. We are in fact superior to the rest of the men on this earth, starting with the so-called white man. Lord willing, like was satisfied and close by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.